I'm muted. Oh, okay.
No, no.
Hello, Internet! It is 7 p.m., it is a Tuesday, and I'm Sneaky Devil, which means this is Fanfiction Contempt Theater, joined today by Max Force and Atin, as usual. Alright, and so, little thing before we start today, A, don't harass people, B, do report this guy because he is placing all of his Harry Potter crossover stories in the Harry Potter section, and that is technically against the rules. B, I was told by some good advice last time around that I shouldn't swear so much. And I did say this in earlier podcasts, is that cursing a lot really doesn't add anything to your story and kind of loses its punch. So, because I curse more when I'm drunk and practice makes perfect, let us begin.
Do I just need to...
Sure, that's not the sound of vodka in the background.
That is the sound of vodka in the background.
Oh boy. Am
Woo!
I gonna need to, like, wire up a big red button that will just activate a random macro on your computer and send it to you?
Oh.
Like, I'm shit at programming, but by God, I can wire something up if I need to.
Yeah.
Might need a couple tries.
Let's get going. So as always, I did say don't harass the people. We are entertainment, we are parody, we are here to learn and teach. We do a lot of both, actually, on this podcast.
I don't know if we really do that much teaching, but...
Well, we do a lot of learning.
Oh, no, hang on.
Sometimes people learn things from us.
We do teach the people our individual tastes, if nothing else.
Make a vodka counter. I'm not making a vodka counter.
Oh, jeez.
Alright, so, as always, I've dropped the link into the Discord, which can be found in the panels down below if you wish to follow along, or you can just stare at the screen and listen to my voice, which, I don't know, I guess, why would you want to do that?
Well, they're here, they enjoy it to some degree.
Anyway, to remind everyone, because fanfiction on Tuesdays is the throwback day, and so we go back to older stories that previously covered, and as I said in the Discord, we will be covering today Chapter 2 of Harry Potter Sharingan, which is, in case everyone needs a refresher, Harry Potter finds a really old book that for some reason doesn't cost a bajillion gold, and we calculated all the gold, and that was fun. We learned lots of math that day. Harry Potter finds an old book, somehow purchases it, somehow, as a completely neophyte to magic, performs a blood ritual upon his hand which gives him magical eyes, which are from Naruto, called the Sharingan. So, right, and the little side process of the back of the book, putting your blood, once you have done the ritual, putting your blood on the book tells you every little detail and all the drawbacks about your bloodline. And the person who does the ritual doesn't have any of the drawbacks. Only the people who they sire as children will have the drawbacks.
I was about to say, why don't I remember this story? And it's like, oh, right.
You tried to forget it.
I was keeping myself sane by making a crappy BlazBlue meme last
That you
week.
were. Alright.
Speaking of which, I demand you share that meme with me.
So let's get right into it. So this is just a read off. Alright, so blah blah blah, it's the Sharingan, blah blah blah, bullshit abilities, blah blah blah, it's telling him about his upgraded version. All Tomos, Tsukiyomi Moonreader, blah 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 blah. We all know what that does. For those who don't know, it's basically an unbreakable illusion, and yeah, you know, illusions. Woo. Blah blah blah. Black fire that eats everything. Blah blah blah. Giant spirit stand man thing that punches people with a sword for some reason.
Okay.
Blah blah blah. The flaws, which are probably going to be glossed over by the author in the actual story. Okay, let's see. He looked at the back of the book. Blah 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 blah. Hagrid was taking him to the train. Okay. He was looking at his texts. What? Until then, Harry had been spending hours looking through texts he had Owl ordered using his owl headwig. They were scroll and book form. Each was a manuscript on ninja techniques. Because apparently...
Just got those lying around,
people apparently just leave around ninja techniques.
Yeah, don't you?
He had looked up the word
Reminder.
Sharingan and discovered it existed in a clan of ninja called the Uchiha. Oh, because all this made it through history.
Yeah. Reminder, by the way, all ninja techniques just lying around. Reminder, episode 1 and 2 of Naruto are still a thing.
I know.
They don't even properly seal it. It's just kind of there for anyone to open.
Yeah.
Where should I be sticking this meme, by the way? On the private server?
Drop it in shitpost. Yeah, just drop it in our shitpost section. Alright, so blah 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 finds magical ninja techniques somehow, blah blah blah.
There we go.
Packaged trunks. Packaged trunks. He bought trunks of ninja techniques. Multiple trunks of ninja techniques.
Boy, with how useful some of these are, you'd think they might be harder to get their hands on.
It's almost like these ninja techniques are so easy and cheap to get that everyone should be using them.
Or, alternately, they're so prohibitively expensive and powerful that no one should be able to purchase them. And you should have to be, like, breaking in to people's...
But apparently his 1,000,000 gold is enough to pay for all this. Boy, how did you buy all these? I'm not gonna pay for your freakishness. Okay, Vernon. Author. Look. I don't know a single delivery service in this day and age, in the 90s, in the 80s, that charged you after they delivered the product, unless it was food. Food is still the only product I know of that is charged on delivery. Or on arrival. Unless you're ordering from Amazon.
I remember a couple of things that pay on arrival is still an option, depending on the postal service.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've never heard of that. I've literally never heard of pay on arrival.
Maybe that's the difference between you Yanks in the South.
Apparently. Anyway, he does have an inconceivably large gold vault, yes. Blah blah blah, you don't have to, I'm super rich, ha ha ha, 4,000-year-old fortune, my trust fund is 13 million gold. We not gonna comment on that, we already established last time around, that's not how trust funds work. Also, trust funds are actually very specific in how they operate.
Yeah. Now, maybe he could justify getting it done. Like, maybe if he can justify it as a school purchase, maybe he could get the trust fund to work for it. But even if he could...
I don't see several million golds worth of purchases being justified as school purchases. Somehow I feel like that wouldn't fly.
I said it was going out on a huge limb.
I know. I'm just saying, it's like I don't see how the author was like, yeah, this will work. There's no flaws in this logic. I'll just put the word trust fund on there.
Cause that's how that work.
Yes, clearly.
Blah 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 blah. You'll be transferring that money to us, boy. A freak like you wouldn't know what to do with it.
What? Who is saying this?
I'm sorry. Does the author think actual humans like talk like that? I don't think I will. You've been getting
Did
paid.
Uncle actually treat him like this?
Not in the slightest. Like, they're just like, oh, hey, we hate magic, and magic is stupid. Do your chores.
Huh.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, they were kind of abusive in the sort of chores they would make him do and shit. And the fact that they, put him in a cupboard. But, like, they didn't beat him. And they weren't, like, absolutely... Like, they thanked him for saving Dudley from the Dementors, eventually. Like...
Sometime.
They aren't, like, the way that fans like to portray them as. The thing I've noticed with lots of J.K. Rowling fans, a large majority at least, is, especially the writers, is... Because I say a large majority of fans and not just the writers, because I see in the review sections very often, oh yeah, those Dursleys what's what, and stuff like that. Like, look, the Dursleys were pretty shit people. They're like the tip of the iceberg, though, in terms of terrible guardians.
Not that bad.
They're comparatively, they're really not that bad at all. And I understand a lot of situations for people are different, but they do not deserve the hate they get. Are they terrible people? Yeah. Are they shitty people? Yeah. Are they, I'm gonna rape you when you're 5 people? No. Are they, I'm gonna beat you so hard your bones are gonna be, like, fused in 9 different directions? No. Are they, I'm gonna sell you into slavery? Bad? No.
Okay, it's the same crap that the Naruto fandom does. They go out of their way to over-exaggerate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they, like... It's not even like they go out of their way to over-exaggerate. Like, I genuinely think a large majority of the Harry Potter authors think this is how people work. Also, Arn points out this is a Naruto crossover.
This is the only Naruto stuff on his profile, though.
But anyway, it gets worse. It gets worse.
All the stories are rated M.
As our tagline is, it always gets worse, and I'm always proven right. If people don't want me to stereotype so often, then maybe they should stop proving me right. Blah, blah, blah. You've been paid to host me. I canceled your stipend. You can't do that. You're not old enough. Effectively, I own this house now. That is not how that works.
I still don't understand what's going on. Like,
so what's happened is Vernon saw the packages Harry bought somehow, and was like, I'm not gonna pay for those. And Harry was like, ha, you don't have to pay for those. I have kabajillion gold. And then Vernon was like, Harry, you should give me your kabajillion gold. Because you're a stupid magic boy.
No, that's not gonna happen.
And then Harry was like, ha, that's not gonna happen. In fact, I've even canceled the money Dumbledore was giving you. That means I own the house now.
Not how that works. Not how any of that works.
What? I'll put the police on you and kick you to the street. Having the deed to this property in my vault is a benefit. Since when did you own the property? This is a new development. I'll beat the freakishness out of you, you little bastard. He stopped when Harry's eyes turned blood red with 3 Tomo in each. The Tomo began spinning, and Vernon fell over.
I'm sorry, do you have something you'd like to add, Max?
The sheer conflict in that paragraph in regard to the deed. So, either he owned the property from the beginning, or he never owned the property and they were paying mortgage on it. Which is it? It can't be both.
Come on now, Max. We know quite well that logic has no impact on these authors.
You just said this is my house now because I'm paying the mortgage.
No, he didn't
But
say anything
then,
about mortgage. He said stipend.
no, that's the thing though. He mentions I had the stipend canceled, so you won't be able to even keep the house without me. That implies that this part of that stipend went
Oh,
to
yeah.
paying for the house.
I guess, yeah.
So either he already owned the house, or someone was paying mortgage and it wasn't under his name to begin with. Either or, can't have both.
Oh no, it
Or
gets
there's those.
worse.
Of course it does.
The Aunt Petunia and his whale of a cousin Dudley. See, this is another thing I really dislike about him. I'm just getting angry already about this. So, another thing I really hate about the Harry Potter fandom is, yes, J.K. Rowling herself used a whale and giraffe to describe them once. But the way the fandom, like, portrays it, it makes it sound like freaking Vernon is goddamn Fat Albert from the Austin Powers movies, and freaking Dudley is a goddamn blue ball. Like, they are chubby. They are not the sorts of people that need oversized load lights on them, okay, fandom? Gaped in horror. That was a weak form of hypnosis. He's just asleep. I'm not restrained anymore. You need me, and I don't need you. That's this. Hold on. Yep, here we go. Boom. Edgelord tag is up. You have a home by my charity, and nothing more. Remember that, or you will find yourself sleeping in the streets. He told them as the Tomo stopped spinning, and his yes returned to their new black.
Okay, first of all, while Vernon might have been a terrible human being, he was gainfully employed.
He was gainfully employed. Actually, quite significantly.
Yeah, I was going to say, quite significantly employed.
But by the way, J.K. Rowling portrayed him, he wasn't exactly in any sort of management position, but he was getting contracts with commission for the company. And, like, decent ones. And that pays a living wage. Quite easily. Anyway. Both his aunt and his cousin went into a panic and dragged Vernon out of the room. Harry went back to his books at that point. What?
This is just a side note.
Yeah.
Like, even if you count the fact that there was plenty of free labor coming from Harry,
right.
The fact of the matter is, and if you ignore the fact that they never took Harry with them on vacations, the fact is,
yeah.
they still... The Dursley family still regularly went on vacation. They regularly had food to eat. They regularly had new clothes.
Yeah.
So even if they're doing that with stipend money from Harry, which isn't possible...
Last I checked, and this might be fanon, but last I checked, the stipend money was like 50 galleon. Like, it wasn't like, oh, we're gonna...
And was that a monthly? Do we know if that was a monthly?
I believe, again, this might be fanon, but as far as I'm aware, it was $50 a month. So that's around like $250, which is completely enough money to pay for food and clothes for a growing boy.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, this might be fanon.
Even if it was $250 a month, like, if it's $250 a month, we'll say that it is for now. Even if it's $250 a month, sure, you could, save that up for, wait 3 months and then you can go on a day trip somewhere nice, but that's not enough to pay for a house. That's not enough to make even a dent in a monthly house payment. Like, Maybe they have to stop taking their maybe they have to stop taking vacations all the time. But Harry would not be paying for the entirety of the house.
Yeah, no, that's just excessive. Like, the author's like, oh, ha, you can't exist without me.
Apparently the stipend thing appears to be completely fan theory.
Oh, okay.
The books
the
never
whole
actually...
stipend was.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. It's amazing what I can find in 30 seconds of Google search that fans who've read the books for years don't even know.
Yeah. So, like I said, it might be fanon, and I was right. It was fanon. It was just really popular fanon, and there's nothing wrong with really popular fanon. Sometimes it makes up for holes in it. You know, like a stipend makes sense. Like, okay, I'm giving them a child to take care of. Giving them extra money to take care of said child is completely within the realm of acceptable. You know?
Seems sensible.
Anyway, gets worse. It wasn't like magic. Instead of just being there, it was a mixture of chi, spiritual energy, and ki, body energy, which produced the same effects by use of hand seals instead of wand movements. Since he had somewhat well-muscled body for a boy his age due to all the physical labor his relatives forced him to do, Harry's chi and ki were both well-matched, but neither was actually trained, so his chakra wasn't where it should be in terms of quantity. Okay, I did an excessive number of manual labor chores when I was growing up because of my life. No, it doesn't put that much muscle on the kid.
It really doesn't.
It really, really doesn't.
Not unless that physical activity labor is like...
Unless you're moving goddamn rocks like buckets by the hour.
Or like chopping wood every day.
Which you weren't. What you were doing was weeding. What you were doing was cleaning. What you were doing was vacuuming. That is not muscle building chores. If there was, we would have a bunch of really buff housewives. Which we don't have, so. Oh yeah. I hate it when you don't sneeze, but you feel like you're going to.
Alright there. Calm down, buddy.
Blah blah blah, his reserves were super small, so it was so easy to water walk and tree walk. I mean... Yeah, technically Naruto did make that canon.
What are you talking about?
Because his chakra reserves were really small, it was easy for him to water and tree walk.
Oh, yeah. No, like, it always made sense, though. Like, better control with a smaller pool, but the larger the pool, the harder it was.
Oh, yes.
Of course, theoretically, if someone had actually taken the time to properly get Naruto started, he probably would have done a lot better with control.
Probably. Dudley's gang tried to beat on him, had proven that a single punch had set his whale of a cousin skidding for several meters and a broken jaw.
The Twitch chat is calling for a sneeze counter now.
No.
Did he like lightning uppercut Dudley? Is that what happened here?
Apparently. Okay, and then the author makes up a bunch of bullshit about the seals. I don't know. They might be bullshit, might not be bullshit. I'm gonna call bullshit for now. It might not be. This might be like, because again, it's probably based on Japanese lore. It's probably not bullshit. It might be bullshit though. I'm gonna call bullshit for now, since the author seems to be bullshitting currency, seems to be bullshitting politics, seems to be bullshitting physics, seems to be bullshitting the body, seems to be bullshitting a whole lots of things. So I'm just going to assume that this is just more bullshit piled on the previous bullshit.
Which bullshit?
Yes.
Are we referring to this little chart he made of the seals?
Yes, we are. The first actual chakra ability, or jutsu as the scroll called it, was a new Uchiha favorite named Kanton Fireball. He had burned his lips numerous times learning it, but after 2 weeks of studying it, he had managed to do it. It had been funny as hell.
I don't think that's how this works. Also, I want to point out, funny, that I know Sasuke isn't a great example, but the fireball jutsu was pretty lethal because you're shooting fire at people.
Yeah. I would also like to point out, you're pretty damn stupid as a person if you're like, alright, okay, so let me read this scroll. And this is, again, a fan-in interpretation. Alright, so we gotta gather the fire in my lungs or whatever, and then gotta spit it out through my mouth for the fireball. Again, fan-in interpretation. But let's roll with that, right? Alright, so I gotta put chakra in my lungs to make sure my lungs don't incinerate. Oh my god, I burned my lips. Oh wow, I keep burning my lips. How do I stop burning my lips? Wow, it's almost like I have to put chakra on my lips to not burn them.
Oh, we talked about the theory behind...
Yeah, behind the fireball, yeah. Like I said, again, this is fan-in, but it's still just like, if that's, because again, it seems like that's the fan-in he's going with, it's like, okay, so if you're not making the fireball just appear in front of you, and all the motions are just to, like, visualize it and everything it's going to do, and it's, like, actually coming from inside you, then it would make sense to apply the same principles that you are to your lungs and your throat to your lips.
Of course, that'd be sensible.
Yeah. So. Anyway, point being, the author's dumb. The author writes dumb characters. Moving on. Blah blah blah. He cast the fireball jutsu again. People gaped as he spit out a massive fireball. His chakra felt super drained. His lips were badly burned. Sorry. Ha, I had too much hot sauce.
Okay, first of all, I know that normal people are supposed to be stupid in the Harry Potter universe.
Are they?
Nobody's supposed to be that stupid. Second of all, and I think this is very important, why has the Ministry of Magic not tracked him down for this yet?
Because he's using hand seals, and they can only track wands. That's the fanon that everyone uses. Even though that's not in the slightest how they do it, because they detected Dobby, and they thought it was Harry. Which means they don't track you through your wand.
Yeah. Also, like, even if they are tracking through the wand, you think no one's gonna be like, hey, so we got a report of some kid shooting fireballs in the park downtown.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, it's cringe. It's cringe. It is edgy and cringe.
It's just poorly thought out stupidity.
It's credgy. Cringe, edgy. Blah, blah, blah. The Dursleys would never recover from their reputation as nutcases.
What?
Oh. Okay. He bought a contract for the snake summoning. Because no one else wanted it.
And apparently those are just
apparently there was just an auction, don't you know? He was just like, who wants the snake summoning contract from Japan? No one? It goes to the 13-year-old for 2 gold. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but basically.
Got it out of your system, Snaky?
No. Unfortunately, he didn't have enough chakra. Learning to make explosive notes had been fun. Who knew you can make military-grade thermite powder from crushed cans, rust, and magnesium? No, actually.
Everyone.
Oh, whoa, hey, ho, ho, ha, ho, no. False. I make thermite. Well, I made thermite back when I was a New Jerseyite. No, you do not get military-grade thermite powder from that.
True,
And-
it's not military grade, but like I think everyone with Google and access to the Anarchist Cookbook knows. that
You
can
don't
make
follow the Anarchist Cookbook for that. The Anarchist Cookbook has been edited to basically be useless.
Okay. At best useless, at worst literally life-threateningly lethal. Don't use it.
Yeah.
Kids.
Anyway, but it's not crushed cans. It's ground cans, fine ground rust. Like, this is actually stuff you don't want inside you. You need to use, like, proper not gas masks, dust masks for this stuff. Like, this is bad to get in your orifices. And you don't use magnesium powder. You use magnesium strips. For the crap tier stuff, the stuff that you make by just gathering some rust off some stuff and some crushing up some cans in a ball grinder, you need strips to ignite it. You don't get fancy with it. Military grade you can get fancy with it because it's a very high grade mixture. Low grade mixtures you gotta basically brute force it.
Yeah. Regardless.
But point being,
It's no secret that you can make thermite at your house.
Yeah.
You can't make very good thermite.
look, fun fact: thermite's actually legal in New Jersey.
So it's legal in a lot of places.
I know, but New Jersey's really restrictive about everything.
Yes.
Blah blah
Which is hilarious
blah.
because it makes no sense.
Wait, I'm really curious. So he goes in the sentence. He starts with talking about explosive notes, and then he leads into thermite powder. How do those two correlate?
I don't know.
Anyway, 16 days. He blew up Vernon's car. Oh, that's why he learned how to do it. Okay. Pulsive chakra channeled, resulting explosion ignited the gas tank. They tried to blame him. How? I was with you the whole time.
They tried to blame him. Right, okay. Once again, where's the Ministry of
Termite
Magic in this?
powder. Oh yes, termite powder. How could I forget?
Where's the Ministry of Magic in all this one?
I mean, where does the thermite even come in? Just slap a single explosive note on the gas tank and you'd be fine. I just,
But like again,
I don't understand. This is where this is why I coined the term credgy or cringetti.
you don't even
Whatever.
know what you coined.
Whatever. This is why I said that word. Because it's cringy edgy. It really is. It's not even just like, oh, this is edgy and stupid. This is like the author's trying to be edgy and somehow failing at it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I used thermite powder to blow up his car. How?
First of all,
Where did you
thermite
put
doesn't
it?
Explode.
Well, no, it burns really hot. But that's what I'm confused
Yes, it
about.
burns really hot, but it doesn't explode. Yes, you could use it to blow something up, but it doesn't inherently on its own.
Like, I could be like, I could understand if he was like, okay, I took some clay powder, I mixed it with the thermite, I stuck a normal fuse in there with it, with the magnesium powder, so the fuse goes into the clay thermite, it ignites the magnesium inside the clay thermite, which ignites the rest of the thermite, and then that hits the gas tank and it explodes. Okay, understandable. But he was just like, I mixed up some thermite powder and it took an explosive note and then blew up the car. It's like, where does the powder go? Thermite doesn't explode, it burns down. So, Where were you putting the powder? Just sprinkled it on top of the gas tank or something? Like,
I always get worried when people say I used a thermite bomb. It's like you don't understand what thermite does.
there is actually things called thermite bombs. They're specifically designed to wreck critical key parts or mechanical components to render the object useless. It was used in World War II against artillery mechanics.
Yes, unfortunately, these are people who think they explode like C4 for some reason.
Because
What
TV
they would do is C4 burns really hot and it melts
C4
things.
explodes.
So
Thermite
burns.
burns.
Thermite. He just said C4.
Yeah, it's okay.
Thermite burns really, really hot, and you can melt just about anything, metal based anyway, with thermite. And so they'd say, look, you
can actually melt a fair bit of non-metal based objects with thermite too. It's actually really hot.
Yes, I'm just saying that there is a limit to what it can melt.
Yeah, I know. I've watched it melt through concrete before.
Yes. The point is, modern day artillery is really complicated, and you don't have to do that much to keep it from functioning. So you would just put thermite on the was it on the firing pin where they put it, Sneaky?
No, what they did, they put it on the gear to reload.
Oh, that's right.
That would work just as well. Gear or firing pin, one or the other.
Yeah. The gear was easier because how all the artillery was differently designed, so it's just like, oh, that's the gear, slap it on and leave.
Yeah, the point is, you put it on there, and now, okay, you can fire one shot with it.
Okay, no, not even that, it would fuck it up, though. The whole thing would just get fucked up. But Arn's like, put the thermite on top of the gas tank and it'll ignite the fuel. Like, okay, yeah, that's my point though. It's, okay, you have an explosive tag, that explodes, ignites the fuel. Okay, you have thermite, you put it on top of the gas tank, and like I said, you slap the clay in there to make it one, like, blob, and then you light it with a fuse, and boom. Okay, it explodes the gas tank. The problem there is, why both?
Fuel.
Where does the powder go? It's not a shaped charge. It does not have any clay content in it to shape the charge. It's just a freaking bag, maybe not even. It's just a fistful of powder. Where does the powder go?
And I agree with him. Furthermore, what's the point? Like you have a bomb tag.
Yeah.
You don't.
This is what I'm saying. This is just cringy edgy. Like, he just threw thermite powder in there for the sheer purpose of being like, oh, look at Harry, he knows how to make thermite powder. It's like, why? What's the point? But anyway, neighbors began talking about the lunatics who lived at number 4 Privet Drive and how badly they talked about that polite young man.
Okay, A, why is Harry suddenly become a polite young man? B, because A, he's still, like, 12?
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. The Dursleys were arrested, and the police dragged them off in cuffs after being hypnotized. And they dragged Vernon and Dudley off to prison for child abuse, assault, criminal negligence, and forced servitude. That's not how courts work!
Okay, even if Vernon was,
Look, I don't know how it works in Britain, but trying to try a child in America is absurdly difficult.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Dudley wouldn't go to jail. He probably wouldn't even go to juvie. They would say, boy, his parents were absolutely terrible influences, and he is almost as much of a victim.
Petunia would stare at Harry, terrified every time. Blah, 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 blah. Harry abused her. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, good job, Harry. Harry's gone full circle now.
Blah, blah, blah. Her husband was serving 40 in prison. 40? For abuse and negligence? Alright, let's just mark down. Author doesn't know how justice system works.
Author doesn't seem.
And her son was serving 10 years for gang-related violence, vandalizing property, and assault. And she had no way of getting food to pay for conveniences or pay for home.
Okay. Alright, Google, we're really gonna test your limits here.
Harry sat watching for Hagrid to arrive. Blah, blah, blah. His new military flak jacket.
When did Harry move to the United States?
No, there's no derails. We've only been ranting about this story.
This terrible, terrible story.
Look, again, I don't know how it is in Britain, but I am almost positive there is not a thing called army surplus in Britain. And even army surplus here, you're going to be hard-pressed to find a fucking flak jacket. And I did mean to curse that time, because come on.
That's not something they just sell.
Again, Britain is far more restrictive in this sort of stuff. Army surplus is sold off a bunch in Britain? Okay. Well, I'll believe you.
Okay, but...
Again, like I said...
That still applies to flak jackets.
Like I said, I can't speak for Britain. But you're still... The author, regardless, the author is still pushing the envelope of what I'm willing to believe here. Because it's just like... A, where is he gonna find a flak jacket fit for a 13-year-old? Or 11-year-old, or however old he is, right?
The point is, you're going to be hard pressed to find a flak jacket that will fit even an 18. Well, no,
18 and going
the
up.
Absolute youngest. That you could find a flak jacket reasonably sized.
If you lived in America, I might be willing to buy this, but it's England.
Right. Well, like I said, Arn claims that flak jackets can be purchased, vehicles at minimum can be purchased from the army surplus stores in Britain. We don't know about flak jackets. Again, we can't talk about Britain because we don't know about Britain.
Flak jackets are easily purchased there. Do you know what's not easily purchased? A flak jacket for a 12-year-old.
Children's flak jacket. Google. Amazon.
Max.
Oh, thank God, Amazon doesn't have that.
Max, I think you... maybe stop. I think you're going to get yourself on a list.
I already know Sneaky. I'm not sure there's much else they can do to me at this point.
He has a fair point.
I've also looked up much worse.
Oh, okay, well... We sell military vehicles, earth-moving vehicles, and Land Rovers. Okay, yeah, but there's nothing about flak jackets there.
And like we said, even if there was... Not for a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm trying to point out, by the way, typing in flak jacket into Google will autocomplete to children's flak jacket on the third result.
Really?
What? Hold on.
At least it did for me.
No,
Again,
no, for me, flak jacket football.
I am not getting flak jackets at all when I type children flak jacket.
Max, my results are flak jacket football.
I'm getting cardigan for women, fairy tale princess snap-up jacket, girl ruffled long sleeve, chevron blue girl mobile iPhone 6, kids down coat, Hanley manly teen boys personality slim fit knitting sweater,
Sneaky.
and dog sunscreen.
What the hell is wrong with your search history, boy?
Is that DuckDuckGo?
Yeah.
I've been wondering what that site looks like. I've been considering getting.
I like
giving
it.
a
I
shot.
typically get better results with it, honestly.
Somehow I'm not surprised. That might be why mine auto-completed the children's flak jacket. I live in the
Again,
South.
I used just Google. I did not get anything about children's flak jacket.
Maybe it's just a Southern thing. Maybe a lot of Southerners are just buying children's flak jackets. Alright, anyway.
Oh, okay, no, that might be why. There's a thing called flak jacket spelled with a C instead of a K, for football. That might be why.
Yeah, that would.
Because people confuse the two. All right.
Okay.
Yes, that would.
That
Okay.
would explain.
Yeah, that would go. Blah 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 blah. Okay, he had cargo pockets holding explosive notes, storage seals, and explosive notes. Blah blah blah. They were often taught to Uchiha children.
Sneaky, you bringing up the explosive tags reminded me of this again. But before the police arrested, were hypnotized and then arrested the Dursleys.
Right.
Where was the police investigation into a car exploding in a driveway? Because random explosions in suburbia tend to draw police.
You raise a good point. You raise a good point. Alternatively, consider the following. No.
You know what? And I'm not done yet. I'm not finished with the rant. Even if it was just explosive tag and they couldn't determine that it was a magically caused explosion,
right?
You know what an investigation would turn up?
What would an investigation turn up?
Boy, there was an explosion outside the gas tank, which caused a secondary explosion. It's almost like there was a bomb on this thing.
You know, that is a fair point. They would notice that. Unless, like, okay, goddamn. Okay, this is why I'm questioning why both were there. Like, I could understand, like, pouring, a thermite-ish mixture.
No matter which of the two he used, they would be able to tell. If it was with thermite, they'd be able to tell that something set off that explosion.
Yeah. See, if I was to blow up a car without any evidence leading towards the car was being blown up and it wasn't just a reaction in the chamber, it would actually have to do with the engine.
Maybe you should be careful, boyo.
It would have to be something with the flow regulator for the gas on the engine to make it look like it just backfired and the explosion just kind of raced through the hose into the gas
even
tank.
Then, that's something they can check for. Like, they
can
check to see.
I know. Like I said, that is the closest idea I have to making it look like it was a complete accident. I don't really.
Skelly Kitty, please don't take notes.
I'll have to ask my Irish boss if he has any ideas about how to blow up a vehicle. I'm fairly
certain, by the way, like the gas itself, there'd have to be a significant amount of fumes.
Also makes a good point. It's a stationary vehicle, which is turned
off. I know, Arn. I'm just saying that's literally like the closest idea I have to accidental explosion.
Well, no, the only explosion that would occur would be in the fuel tank itself, because that's where the gas fumes are. Gas itself doesn't explode. The fumes are what violently explode.
Right.
Gas itself just catches fire. And even then...
gas can't...
The pressurized gas will explode, but it will more explode in terms of just sending fire everywhere than explode in terms of kablooey.
Yeah,
Hollywood.
And that's the issue. Like, the moment that thermite busts through, hey, there's a hole for all this fire to start escaping. Awesome.
Yeah. See, again, this brings me back to, like, how is he blowing up the car and why is he using both? Like, there's no real point.
Look, he has an explosive... He has a bomb tag. We're going to assume it's the bomb tag that's causing this to go off.
I mean, yeah, honestly, the best guess I can be is like he slapped some bomb tags on the goddamn engine block or something and just exploded the car that way, And everyone was like, I guess the gas exploded because there's no explosive residue, because again, chakra. So there's no explosive residue, so they're like, well, it wasn't sabotaged.
No, but that's
and we can't find explosive residue.
That clearly would still show up, because even if there's no explosive residue, it's still an explosive. That's going to leave a blast pattern on the outside.
I know it would leave a blast pattern, but the problem is they can't prove any explosive was used because there's no residue.
Yeah.
So all they have is evidence that explosive was used, but there's no proof beyond that an explosive was used. So it's basically one of those cases of, we know what happened.
It would certainly still be placed down as a suspicious incident.
Yeah. So literally, looking back on it now, the car incident makes no friggin' sense whatsoever.
It didn't make any sense to begin with, but now we're just poking extra holes in it.
Yeah. Alright, so anyway, blah blah blah, sealing his shrunken school supplies into a small sealing scroll he bought from a costume shop. I didn't realize costume shops just sold blank sealing scrolls.
Well, it doesn't even have to be scroll, remember? Seal doesn't scroll. A seal can use whatever it wants.
Blah blah blah. You know what? I think we should make a Naruto character that seals things into rocks.
We're already doing that with Hobble at some point.
You're right.
Stop it. Stop shilling your fanfiction.
I will shill my fanfiction as much as I feel like. Your blood will be harvested and used in a blood ritual to fuel the edgelord's satanic connections. Yeah, that's about, pretty much. Blah blah blah, blah blah blah, stationary equipment, blah blah blah, it was all stored in his scrolls, blah 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 blah, they were convenient to carry around, his wand was stored his way, he had sent Hedwig ahead.
I'll be back.
Sealed the cage, blah 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 blah, it was time for him to go. Hagrid was disturbed by the fact that Harry's eyes weren't green any longer. Well, at least someone's taking notice. They also weren't hazel like his father's used to be. His iris was just as black as his pupil. But now, other than that, he was completely unchanged, if slightly less in awe of the magical world than he had been a month ago. His presence also seemed to be more confident.
This has all happened over the course of a month!
Yep! This has all happened over the course of a month! Yes. Yep. Don't you just learn how to create bombs out of drawing on paper in the course of a month? It's so easy! Just you take your blood, you take some ink, you draw a scribble, and you have a bomb!
Okay, let's ignore all this. Somehow, in a month, he's gained control of his entire trust fund.
Sure.
And used it for purposes not even remotely related to the trust fund.
Yep.
And suddenly the Dursleys' house starts exploding.
Yep.
Why has Dumbledore not showed up and said, Harry, quit being a moron?
This isn't a Gamer Cross. This is a Harry Potter story that crosses over with Naruto for the Sharingan aspect of it all, and the fact that apparently Naruto was just ancient history of the magical world for some reason. And the author is only listed as a Harry Potter story, so I do encourage everyone to go report this story because it does break the rules of this site. And I do encourage everyone to go report the author because he also continues to break the rules of this site by posting multiple stories that are crossovers and non-crossover sections for the sole purpose of gaining more views. Gamer crossovers, I have yet to see a single gamer crossover that has actually completed itself. Every single gamer crossover has died a violent death of plot and power creep. Anyway. Blah blah blah, people weren't supposed to change that much in a month. Something was different and Hagrid couldn't help but worry. Stick to your ticket, Hagrid warned. What?
Who cares anymore?
Harry
This is
activated his
nonsense.
blah 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 blah. He saw the passage, blah blah blah. He walked through the passage, blah blah blah. He ignored the Weasleys. He appeared on the platform, transformed into a different boy with blonde hair and blue eyes. Wow, so Nazi of you. He left his clothes unchanged. They were black and loose, fitting fatigues.
So why has he changed himself?
Oh boy, he's wearing a flak. Okay, this is his full outfit, by the way. A flak jacket, loose-fitting fatigues tucked into black leather boots, with a black fishnet for a shirt, with an Uchiha emblem on his flak jacket, with a black bandana and a metal plate engraved with the Sharingan eye on his head.
Alright,
Inside a circle and triangle. Really, we're going with the Lord of Death already. Lord of Death?
Look.
Master of Death. Really?
England's pretty paranoid about public safety. More so even than America. Now, Sneaky, you worked as a security guard for a time. Tell me, if you saw a 12, 13-year-old dressed in that kind of outfit, would you immediately call it in and start following them around for the duration of their visit?
Look, I have seen a lot of people in a lot of really odd outfits. Now, that is to be said. If the kid had a swastika in the headband, and they were blue-eyed and blonde-haired, I almost said blue-haired and blonde-eyed. Blue-eyed and blonde-haired, and they had a swastika, yeah, I would probably call that in. But otherwise, not really.
And you wouldn't even like follow them around or keep an eye on them?
Okay, look, I'm a really bad comparison level for this. I just don't give a I just don't care.
Wonderful.
Dude, I came to Vermont, okay? I came to Vermont and I saw a punk dude who was like a bunch of nose piercings, the spiky mohawk, wearing a, death metal leather jacket, walking an invisible dog while smoking a cigar. And I saw that guy, instead of being like, wow, that guy's weird, I said, wow, I want to live in Vermont. Look, I am not a standard you want to compare to.
I am realizing.
Anyway, so, blah, 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 he went through the crowd, blah, 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 he pulled out a book, blah, blah, blah. There's a man so evil, he scarred demons. Uchiha Madara. He was also immortal, to steal his brother's eyes. Apparently the man who had originally created the Sharingan had been a wizard who died 3,000 years before and created the Sharingan so his children would grow stronger faster due to his own two sons dying early on in their ninja careers. He had once been a member of the Senju clan, but left on his own accord. He was ancient by that time, many thousands of years old. He had knowledge of chakra and magic, but Harry couldn't find any other books of him other than the Journal of Bloodline Creation. Okay, hey, look, I realize this is a 2008 story, but around 2008, that was, let's see, Naruto ended in 2012-ish. That's 4 years before the end of Naruto, which means at the start of the Fourth Ninja War, which means we sort of more or less knew the story of the Uchiha at that point. Sort of, like I said, sort of. We didn't really know about the Sage at that point. On one hand, I want to be like, you stupid, but on the other hand, it's like, it's understandable that you didn't know this information. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even if they didn't, like, leaving that aside, that does not change how edgy this entire.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not excusing the edge. This is still absurdly edgy.
Okay, quick note on that. I think I recognize this particular theory. Because the Naruto fandom is just as crazy as others, and they start throwing crazy theories out.
Okay.
Like, Minato's name was originally... They thought it was originally something like Arashi, and Kurama's name was actually Minato. And Minato was supposed to be the nine-tailed fox, they thought. Boy, were they fucking surprised.
Boy, were they wrong.
Oh, let me bring this up. Bring up Naruto. Oh. Oh, okay. By the way, Naruto ended 2014-ish.
Well, no, I think he's talking about Naruto proper, the show.
Naruto, the show, just ended.
Yeah,
The manga
show
ended
recently,
2013,
man.
2014. The show ended way later, Atin.
Does that include Shippuden, or...?
Yeah.
Yes, when you talk about Naruto ending, you must talk about part 1 and 2 all together, whether we like it or not. So
Anyway.
I think Naruto part 1 ended like
You were saying
09.
something about where this this theory came from, Max?
I think around this time period was when we started getting hints at the Sixth Sage and his two sons. Like they were literally
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah, like they were a throwaway line. But I remember some being like maybe they were part of the Senju for some reason. It's like no,
Oh, is
that's
that
just
where
you
they're
guys
getting
being
it?
stupid. I think. Don't quote me. Please don't quote me.
Oh, I'm totally quoting you.
You're gonna get quoted.
Alright, so, okay. What's going on? Would have been a better story. Sigh, don't deny. It's just Arn being Arn, okay. Moving on. Blah, 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 blah. It was 12, he unsealed his lunch, he finished the book, started reading a book on human anatomy, and various jutsus. Why is there a book about human anatomy and jutsus in battle?
Those are not...
Was it written by Orochimaru?
Maybe. Ninja were by definition assassins and mercenaries, and the Uchiha were an entire clan of ninja, born and bred killers. I'm gonna... Okay. Blah blah blah, survival, killing people, blah blah blah, grilled chicken sandwich, what do we need to know about this? Okay, couple of sodas. One of the redheads, mind if I sit here, everyone else is full. Oi, I asked you a question. What you do is none of my business unless it affects me in some way. Sit where you choose, mortal. It doesn't matter to me, he said dismissively without even looking up from his book. Normally he would have been more sociable, but he really wanted to finish this book, and interruptions from the other children screaming constantly were putting him in a bad mood. Blinking.
Do we have, like, a double edgelord banner that we can use?
No, but not yet.
Can we just layer the banner over the story?
I'm apparently allergic to bullshit according to my fans, and I completely agree with this.
Can we... Okay,
Shall I go
think what we
make...
need to do is, I think we need to just take a GIF. We just need to take the Monster Hunter weapon sharpening animation, just turn that into a GIF that will play in the corner whenever we get to this level of edge.
You know what? The beta's starting again. I think this Friday I will sit here in the call and grab a shot of that.
I don't think we should do that, because that would be like copyright infringement and stuff, and that'd be bad.
No, we can put some text over it, getting my edge ready or something. Then it becomes a transformative work.
I suppose you're right. Still, I'm not. Maybe get an artist to draw it or something. You know, look. I don't want this podcast to die a fiery death because some Japanese company was like, "Hey, they made a GIF. Sue them."
You would have a point if the Japanese company in question wasn't Capcom.
That is a fair point. It is Capcom. You make a fair
Say
point,
what you
sir.
will about how they release stuff, they at least understand the importance of the internet and free advertising.
Fair enough, sir. Continue.
Unlike Nintendo, who will never be covered on this show until their policies change drastically.
Blah blah blah.
Well,
I'm
Middle America's
Ron.
trying.
Blah blah blah. Are you gonna answer me? Blah blah blah. It's it's rude to bother others, mortal. I am ignoring you because I do not wish to talk, and I am concentrating on my book. Please be silent. Harry said matter-of-factly. The redhead looked positively enraged. You know, I'm actually in Ron's corner at this point. Like, if someone talked to me like that, I would probably have punched him in the face by this point. Before he could retort, the door opened and the woman smiled at the end of the trolley covered in
Okay,
sweets.
why did all of their ages suddenly get upgraded by like 10 years?
Oh.
Like they're still children.
Because, like I said earlier, Atin, I see a lot. This is a problem with Harry Potter and Naruto because they both deal with younger people. At first, at least, and that's where most stories start at. A lot of fanfic authors seem to have trouble conceptualizing the fact that children don't speak like adults for some reason. I'm not sure why, but they do. And so, you really often get lots of stories, usually crap stories like the ones we're currently reading, that, like, have the children talking like an adult would. And it's just like, that's not how kids talk.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I completely understand the trouble some people might have with writing how a child would talk in their story. It's understandable. It's hard to think outside the box of the way you think and then write that for someone.
Mm-hmm.
That takes skill. It takes a certain mental aptitude, and it takes skill. And, okay, understandable. If this is fan fiction, it's understandable. But, however, just like everyone's not good at a video game, everyone's not going to be good at writing, you shouldn't get mad when someone points that out to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
Anyway, rolling on, because we're just awesome like that.
Ah, that's the
awesome?
word we're using?
Yep. Noticing the look of longing on the
you wanna use that
boy's
word?
face as he looked at a ball of something in his hand and declined, Harry sighed. If I buy you something, will you remain quiet for the remainder of this trip, mortal? He asked the boy, who nodded eagerly, taking out a
Why is he-
handful of... I keep adding mortal because that's basically how he's talking.
Okay, I had to be clear because I was like, am I missing something, or
No.
is Sneaky just adding again?
No, that you can't deny that's how he's talking.
I'm not saying it isn't, but don't. Come on, we've talked about this.
Stop adding words.
Nope.
Stop it.
Taking out a handful of gold galleons from his pocket. A handful! Give him
Isn't that
one
good?
of each.
I feel like that's a good way to get mugged.
So he's just like, he's just pulling out a
He's just pulling out a handful of hubcaps from his pocket. Give him one of each. You realize, like, that's enough to buy. Like, canon. In canon. Harry pulled out, like, 5 galleons, and that was enough to buy the cart.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He just did the equivalent of pulling out, like... He just pulled out, like, a handful of $100 bills and gave them to the peasants to go away. That's what just happened.
But that's basically what just happened. Give him one of each, peasant, he told her, and the woman did so, and Harry paid before putting his money back in his pocket. Noticing the boy opening his mouth to ask where Harry got all the money, Harry spoke. If you wish to keep that purchase, you will remember your promise to be silent, mortal. Wanting to keep his food, the boy snapped his mouth shut and started eating. While the distraction of seeing the boy get attacked, bitten, and all around beaten up by a chocolate frog. Again, this comes back to, I don't think authors know how to human. Like, I know the author thought, while writing this, oh man, isn't this so funny? Ron's being beaten up by a chocolate frog. And the rest of the world looks at it. The rest of the non-immature, actually functional people look at it. I was going to say sane, but I was like, wait a second, I can't use that. Functional people look at it and go, yeah, that's not funny, actually. You missed nothing, mortal. Blah, 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 blah. It was entertaining. Harry laughed internally, finishing the food, put it into a trash bin. Blah, blah, blah. Next interruption came. Have you seen a toad? Blah, blah, blah. What are you reading? It's a 700-year-old book on various concepts and strategy in combat. There is only one copy in existence, pathetic peasant, he replied while sipping his soda. Her eyes lit up as she looked at the book. Can I read it when you're done with it? She asked eagerly. No, Harry told her dismissively. Gaping in shock, her face turned into one of anger.
I'm just imagining...
Again, this is not how normal people act. Oh, wow, what's that you have there? Oh, it's a 700-year-old one-of-a-kind relic. Oh, can I handle it? No. That's understandable.
Question. This is Hermione talking with. I've been talking with him. I haven't talked in a while. This is Hermione he's interacting with,
I'm sorry,
right?
I don't speak binary. You want to say that again?
Yeah, you cut out for me there too, man.
011000100.
Oh, wow, I can't believe you would say that about my mother.
Fuck you. Is this Hermione that he's interacting with?
Yes, this is Hermione.
Yeah.
Okay. I have never read a book. I have seen a total of 10 minutes of the movies, 30 if you include the trailers that would not stop playing. Even I know she would never act like this.
Yeah, like...
It's extremely out of character.
I have a one-of-a-kind 700-year-old book with me. Oh, can I read it? No. That's understandable, because that is a 700-year-old one-of-a-kind book.
Oh my god, like, I could see Ron being kind of nosy.
Yeah.
Even I get that from his character.
I can see Hermione being nosy, like, asking him questions about the book.
Yeah, even like, could I take a look at it? No. Okay, well, can you tell me something about it then?
Yeah, that's the kind of line I would expect from Hermione. Not, knowledge should be shared! Excuse me? It's a 700-year-old one-of-a-kind book. If someone goes, no, you can't have this, the appropriate response is, that's understandable.
And especially because this isn't...
Again, I understand they're children. I get that.
But this isn't Ron. That's the thing.
No,
You
even
have
past
Ron on
that.
the very immature end of the spectrum. You have Hermione on the probably
Even
hard end
past
of the
that, even past the fact that they're children, the kind of response I would expect from a normal child when they're told they can't touch a 700-year-old book is, why not? Because it's my book and it's 700 years old and very delicate. You're lame. You're uncool. That's stupid. That's the kind of response. Not, I'm angry. Knowledge should be shared. No. That's, no. No. Just learn to people and then start writing. Anyway. Knowledge should be shared, blah blah blah, my property is my property. Sorry. Knowledge should be shared, yes. However, my property is simply that, mortal. I had to special order this book with several thousand galleons. Really? 700-year-old, one-of-a-kind book is only several thousand galleons. Which is the equivalent of between $5,000 and $25,000. Look. 700-year-old, one-of-a-kind book goes for way more than that.
That would depend on whether the book is known within the circuit or not, Sneaky.
That is a fair point, Max. That is true.
However, based on the fact that these are apparently one of a kind,
and like,
oh, somebody's gonna want it the moment they hear one of a kind.
Of course,
but
yeah.
if they don't know what it is, it's not gonna be worth as much as it might be to the next person.
That is true.
yeah.
That's how collectibles work.
That is
Somebody
true.
wants it, bids start going,
Right.
and humanity proves that once again it has no idea how to properly assign value to anything.
This is true. As well as numerous other books in my private library. Since I choose those able to access it, and many of them are rare or the only copies in existence itself, I will not be handing them out to every person who wants them, you peasant. He replied and went back to his own book. Besides, I made sure my portable library was locked by my magical signature, so only I can open or enter it. Why would you need to do something like that? You should share knowledge freely. How else will the world move on? She said leniently. I'm not wrong.
You're not, but
When he spoke, it was as if he was speaking to a particularly slow child. The magical world doesn't move on. If you care to look around, you will see they are still mostly stuck in the Renaissance period. There are a few small exceptions, of course, but those are out of necessity and not progress, you peasant. Do you actually bother to think about what you read, or do you just read it and sprout it back out, expecting to have people call you bright, mortal? Both those in the room stared at him while Harry kept reading. Besides, if all knowledge is to be shared...
So he's just reading the... So he's going through anatomy diagrams while talking to people.
Yeah.
Now,
and ways to kill people, apparently.
Now,
With jutsu.
have you ever taken an anatomy class?
I have.
Mm,
Right. And
I don't
did
know
you
that I have, actually.
Okay, well then unfortunately this isn't relevant to Max, but Sneaky, did you have to take the bone test?
I did.
Hmm.
It was a bitch.
It was indeed. Now, do you think that while even idly trying to study and incorporate that information.
I mean, I assume it could be possible if you were using the Sharingan.
Fair enough.
Anyway. Besides, if all knowledge is to be shared, then what if Voldemort came back and got a nuclear warhead? He asked her, making the girl pale in horror.
Okay.
I see your point. Do you know who with a weapon capable of wiping out all of London in a blink of an
What the
eye?
fuck is going on with my connection?
No idea.
Excuse me, author. She shuddered. He'd probably hit a fault line and destroy the planet.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I like that that's the first part that got you, and not the part of they're just giving out nuclear warheads to any Jacko who
Okay,
asks.
well, no, okay, hold on. Voldemort finds about nukes. Voldemort imperiuses the people in charge of nukes. They launch nukes. I can understand that sort of
Yeah,
logic.
I was gonna say, not an
the-
unreasonable chain of events. Not one Hermione would know about. Because
Yeah,
she shouldn't
obviously not what Hermione is thinking of, but understandable series of events.
Here's the thing, though. Like, when the way the question is asked, if all knowledge is to be shared, then what if he came back and got, like, I don't, first off, it wouldn't be hard for him to find out about nuclear warheads if he was active at any point during World War II, just keeping an eye on the
I was gonna
muggle.
say,
No, he was
literally-
an orphan. Remember?
No, I don't remember. How the fuck would I remember that?
No, but okay, here's the thing. Even if he wasn't, like, and yes, I understand it was very insular and they spent very little time near actual people, but, or near normal people, but, like, nuclear technology was a really big deal.
Yeah, they would have heard of it regardless.
Like, I'm pretty sure the wizarding world would have been in a tiny bit of a kerfluffle about, yo, so the Muggles figured out this crazy powerful thing that, like, even magic is nothing compared to.
Yeah, no, that's my point. It's like, this is the kind of thing that they'd be like,
I'm
okay,
agreeing with you.
Yeah,
we
I-
are
yeah, I-
officially taking
I
them.
know,
We, you know, that's the point. Is like, we do not want to be on their shit
But
list.
yes, that my main problem with that whole statement of his is in fact the part where he goes, "Oh my god, if he hits a fault line, the planet blows up." That is so far from how it works. It's not even like funny. It's
Also,
not even
isn't-
like
Isn't
Okay,
that
but
like
this
a
is-
really
this is
outdated
a
theory?
child saying,
that is a theory that came about back when we were first testing nuclear technology.
Okay, but guys, this is a child
Like-
saying it. It might just be, they might just having him say
Yeah,
it because a child can be wrong.
Yeah,
but here's the
I
problem with
I
that.
acknowledge that, Atin, but the problem there is the theory she's spouting about is a theory that A, only Americans would really know too much about because the Americans were the one testing it, and B, that theory was specifically around during the initial tests. Like, back during the initial tests of nuclear explosions, the scientists were worried they might ignite the atmosphere. Like, those were the
Yeah.
sorts of concerns they were having. Past dropping the bombs, everyone was like, okay, dropping the bombs. Okay, yeah, it makes a really big explosion and wipes out cities. But it's not going to kill the Earth.
Uh-huh.
So, Britain, at best, would learn about Nagasaki and Hiroshima. They wouldn't get all those crazy theories about if it hits a fault line, the world explodes! Yeah. Implying the author has an IQ over 60. Yes, I realize this, guys.
Anyway, come on. We've been doing this one story for an hour and a half. Close
I
to.
know, there's just so much wrong with it, though.
I know.
Well, I've also identified the problem. The author believes the world works like a 1990s action flick.
Kind of. Actually, now that you point it out.
Cards explode at the tip of at the very drop of a pin, and fault lines are connected to everything. Doesn't matter what fault line you hit it with a nuke, boom.
The
world's
world
dead.
just explodes, yeah.
Hey, if that was true, we could get rid of California way faster.
No, we need a mantle saw for that.
We should invent the mantle
California,
saw.
you want to leave? We'll help you.
Anyway, blah blah blah. They left him alone. Blah blah blah. Blah 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 blah. Diagon Alley, the arrogant boy. I heard Harry Potter was here. I haven't seen him. You're the third person to ask me that. Oh, oh, Weasley, always meddling. He hissed and left Harry alone. Okay. Sure.
Whatever.
Are Weasleys just known for their red hair?
Actually,
Are they the Uzumakis of this universe?
Yes. The author did make a point to point out that Weasleys were, like, kind of unique in the red hair. Susan had red hair, but, like, no one ever paid attention to Susan.
So the Weasleys have no souls.
Yeah, so it basically, like, J.K. Rowling talked about how the Weasleys had red hair at every opportunity to talk about a Weasley.
Which was kind of weird.
So, the Weasleys... Great, so Ron is our new Naruto. Got it.
Maybe she's just a really big fan of red hair.
Hey, now that there we go. Let's get that crossover going. If we're gonna have crap crossovers, let's go with that one.
What?
Ron Weasley shows up to talk with his long-lost cousin Naruto.
Yeah.
No, clearly he's going to speak to his long-lost cousin, the Uchiha family, and he can't understand. He's going to teach Sasuke how to enjoy life.
What?
You complete...
What?
Where's one of those jokes? Where's one of those, here's the joke, here's your head. Yes, I need
Hold on!
Have you got one, Sneaky, sitting around in your reaction
No,
folder?
I'm just Googling it because I'm gonna need this one for later, too.
The worst thing is, I'm going to end up stealing it, and I know I am.
Oh, wait. Hang on, Sneaky. How about this one? Let me...
This is just a simple, shitty paint one, but here you go.
Good old MS Paint.
I'll just send this one directly to you.
I'll just ping you.
Sneaky, here's another one to add to your archive.
Oh no.
I love the internet.
I don't get it.
Anyway,
Moving
moving on with the story.
Yes. Oh, God. Sorry, apparently,
Yeah, you just sent me a picture, not the GIF.
I can't... Oh my God. I can't physically save it as a GIF.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, you're gonna have to just click the link, Sneaky, because for some reason the JPEG is encoded as a GIF, but it won't save as a GIF.
Discreetly releasing his henge, blah blah blah, ignored the girls, blah blah blah, Indian twins. Oh, he's building his harem already. And you think I'm joking about this. I'm not, audience. I'm serious. Basically, in Harry Potter stories, it's gotten to the point where if the author goes out of their way to mention any of the non-main characters, it's a harem.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate, that's how it is. But, like I said, fanfiction authors these days are pretty freaking mad, and there's no standards on fanfiction.net anymore. That's one of the reasons why we started this podcast, because I was tired of the crappy standards on fanfiction.net. And actually, among other things, one of those reasons being the fanfiction community telling me I was wrong and I shouldn't insult other people's works if they're bad. Because I might hurt their feelings.
Add this one to the archive, Sneaky.
Okay. Blah, blah, blah. He was careful not to smirk. Blah, blah, blah. First years, thank you. Blah, blah, blah. I'll call your name. Yep, Arn already left. Blah, blah, blah. You honestly don't care about your family. He asked, Sorry, let me do the Harry voice for that. What if you honestly don't care about your family? Harry asked, making her gape. I ask this because I, personally, don't care about house points, and have no intention of doing anything besides learning, mortal. So are we forced to participate against our will, or can we choose not to participate in the point system?
Are you kidding me? You're giving McGonagall a stutter? She would not care about some little kid being sassy. She'd just say, sit down, shut up, and you'll participate.
Stuttering wasn't something McGonagall was used to. In fact, one could very nearly say it was completely new to her. However, she was stuttering and gaping at the young boy who had just spoken. I will have to ask the headmaster about that at a later time. In the meantime, all of you stay here. I will return shortly. Okay, look. This cannot be the first time someone was like, hey, yeah, can I just not be part of this stupid shit?
Yeah. And even if it was the first time, like, you think something like that's gonna
why
throw
is she
McGonagall
stuttering?
off?
Yeah, like... in the final book, she literally walked into a battlefield completely nonplussed. She was unfazed by people dying and exploding around her. Well, she was angry, obviously, about the people on her side dying, but she was unfazed by it. She wasn't like, oh my god, they're dying, I'm gonna break down and cry. She was like, nope, zap, zap, zap.
Yeah.
Look, a kid going, what if I don't want to, isn't gonna make her stutter.
Yeah. And to top it all off, like, at what point did McGonagall ever take any sass from any kid?
Yeah, no, it just...
Like, the actual McGonagall would have it'd be some kind of snappy well, not necessarily snappy, but some kind of comeback about, yeah, it's like, we've had people who don't like having fun before. Yes, you can just study. I'll see about getting you moved to Ravenclaw.
Yeah, someone, like, not even that. Maybe someone like, I don't know. I don't even know. Just, I think you will learn to enjoy the system or something like that. Like, it's just not this. Look, like, Atin, Max, none of us have ever claimed to be expert writers. None of us have claimed to be expert orators. None of us have ever claimed to be expert in anything of the written or spoken word. However, it doesn't take an expert to look at this and go, that's dumb, that wouldn't happen.
Boy, that's completely out of character for this person.
Blah, 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 everyone laughed, blah, 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 his scar was being covered up by his headband. He stood there, blah, 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 why'd you ask those things? He ignored her. Several other kids tried talking to them, and blah, 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 she came back, and they all went with her, some stupid song by the Sorting Hat began. I'm just gonna list everyone where they're all going and making up people along the way. Harry Potter, everyone, he ignored everyone. Difficult, you're so difficult. So much courage. You've got what a mind, more cunning than anyone ever in 100 years. You have the scroll Salazar was so desperate to find. He bought it for like 1,000 gold, okay? It couldn't have been that hard to acquire. Able to see through deception, blah, blah, blah. You are quite the gem. You like to waste time, blah, blah, blah. I suppose I do. I have no choice but to put you in. Slytherin! Everyone was silent, and the Slytherins freaking cheered and clapped and stomped in their seats and whistled and waved as Harry Potter joined them. Yes, the phrase I use often when talking about main characters who are basically puppets for the main author to just basically self-insert them into the story.
Flesh puppets.
Meat puppets. I call them meat puppets.
Flesh, meat, same diff.
Yeah, but meat's more demeaning. Because you're not even acknowledging that it's flesh.
Fair enough, I suppose. Point is...
Meanwhile, Gryffindor muttered and chanted and grumbled. Yeah. Anyway, so again, another list. Blah 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 blah. I didn't see you on the train. I sat in a compartment and read a book. You're telling me you think I was stupid enough to walk past you. I'm not telling you anything. You asked me where I was and I answered. Blah blah blah. The Slytherin common room. Blah blah blah. He ignored the head of house trying to scold him for being in his house. Snape was trying to scold him for being a Slytherin, and Harry ignored him until he grabbed Harry's arm and tried to jerk him around. Harry then channeled his chakra into his muscles to increase his strength and speed and twisted the man's wrist hard. I thought that said hand. I was like, wrist hand. Much to the shock of the professor and the students watching, he was shoved with his stomach and chest against the wall. Okay, so he's twisted around and put into the police hold.
Okay, so at what point did Harry think assaulting a teacher was a good idea?
I don't know what your pathetic problem is, mortal. However, you are not worth my time in any fashion. I will follow the school rules which I read up on, and I will do my work. So as long as you stay out of my way, I will not be forced to report you to the Board of Governors and see you thrown in prison and fired for abusing students. Are we clear, you mortal?
Alright, let's take a second to talk about this stupidity.
You see why I'm adding mortal and peasant to the end of the shit he says?
Yes. Okay. Now, I don't know if we have the full list of rules for the Harry Potter school. But at pretty much every school you go to, assaulting the teachers is a bad idea.
Yeah. Snape has been hit by a crap ton of Crucios because Voldemort's kind of trigger happy.
Second of all, I understand he has magic little hypnosis powers. And sure, that worked just fine on a bunch of normal cops.
Snape's actually a master occlumens, and he's basically like...
That's what I was going to get around to.
Yeah.
He
is like...
As incompetent as much of the magical government appears to be, I'm pretty sure that at least one or two of them would be good enough at anti-mind magic to go, oh, this little shit is trying to hypnotize us.
Well, I mean, not even that. Like, okay, look. Snape's a master occlumens. Like, that is actually a big deal in the Harry Potter verse.
Mm-hmm.
Illusions on him? Not quite effective.
But that's what I'm saying. So there's no way Harry can trick this Board of Governors into getting Snape fired. And if it comes down to the word of a student versus Harry versus some little kid...
Yeah. No, it's... Yeah.
Who are they gonna believe?
And especially with Draco Malfoy's father on the board, yeah. Like...
Yeah.
It's... Yeah. Anyway, I can words. Give me a second.
Does anyone happen to know if 1991 England still allowed corporal punishment? Because
I
I'm
don't think 1991 England did, but I'm willing to bet you that the Wizarding World, which was on average what 100 to
No,
200 years.
no. To be fair, I do remember in the first movie and the first book, Filch caught them, and he was like, "I should put them in thumb screws and shit." And then Dumbledore was like, "No, we don't do that anymore here. We don't do corporal punishment. Instead, you two will be going with Hagrid on a patrol."
No, did he say we don't do corporal punishment or we don't do that? Because there's a difference.
One is we don't allow thumb
TLDR,
screws.
he was like, we don't do that to students here anymore, Filch. You need to calm down. I don't know the exact wording of it.
Yeah, but thumb screws aren't the same as grabbing a little shit's arm to turn them to look at you.
Or
okay, that is completely different. Yes.
Or even just bending them over your knee and taking a switch to them.
As far as like.
Okay, so. Alright, so he's probably broken 2 or 3 rules immediately, as well as threatened to make charges that probably wouldn't stick in the first place. Congratulations, author. You continue to astound me with the lack of ignorance that your writing currently displays in this story.
Lack of ignorance?
Did I say lack of ignorance?
Yeah, you said lack of ignorance.
My apologies. I think my brain was like lack of intelligence, ignorance. We'll just mash them together and give the author way more credit than they deserve.
That's understandable. In state-run schools and in private-run schools, corporal punishment was outlawed in '86.
Only in '86. That is alarming in and of its own right.
It's
However,
Britain, dude. Britain's always been a bit, British.
How far behind the times does the Wizarding World tend to be in terms of laws and whatnot?
It was really dependent. With some stuff, it was, like, up to date. With other stuff, it was, like, not.
Yeah. Like you said, look, regardless, corporal punishment isn't allowed.
And we don't really know too much about the canon laws and stuff and how shit works.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Oh, it gets worse. It gets worse.
The story or the corporal punishment thing?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
I'm glad I helped you. The greasy bat-like man, Severus Snape, growled and struggled. "I'll see you expelled for this, Potter!" He screamed as Harry's grip tightened, twisted, and snapping his bones in his wrist. "I didn't hear you. Would you like to say that?" "I didn't quite hear you, mortal. Would you like to say that loud enough for the rest of the class to hear, Professor?"
Okay.
He just broke a professor's arm. Now he's definitely expelled.
Yeah, I guess we need to do a quick lesson on government here in the US. There's no federal law for corporal punishment, Kitty, because that is a state law. That is a state level thing that is currently handled. To my knowledge, no state allows corporal punishment since I think mid-80s onwards.
Yeah.
Maybe the early 90s at the latest. Yeah, our government's really weird. We have the one federal government we've got to worry about, then 49 other governments outside of our own state.
Well, you also got to keep in mind,
never mind. Alright, 19 US states, apparently it's still lawful. I was not aware of that. I thought that was outlawed in all states.
Like I said, you got to keep in mind that corporal punishment's only allowed in private schools. So, like, the religious
according to this, there are 19 states it's allowed in public and private.
Oh.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wonder how many of those are Bible Belt states.
I wouldn't trust that too well. Even if it's not, like, actually outlawed in the U.S., it was, like, frowned upon significantly for quite a long time in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in public schools at minimum. In private schools, and especially in religious schools, that was the norm for a very long time until around the 80s.
Well, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be clear. Catholic schools.
Okay, no, look, you got away with a lot when it came to religion and privately funded schools in the United States.
Yes, you did. Not denying that.
Yes, it's not technically outlawed, but there's also stuff like, even if it's not technically outlawed, there's also court cases that can be upheld as laws, but they wouldn't show up as laws. But the court case could be pointed to as a verdict by a judge. So, legal system in the United States is a bit weird, okay?
A bit weird.
Yeah, like I said, we've got 50 individual governments as well as the one federal government. It gets a bit messy from time to time.
Even more than that, we also have court jurisdictions. We have the family courts. We have the criminal courts. We have the
civil courts.
And
we have We have the jury courts as well, which are separate branches of each of those courts, and they all operate on
courts.
Yeah, and then there's those courts.
That's not even including the local governments
yeah.
as well, like
and then
the
there's
city
the local,
governments
and
the county governments.
And on top of that, court jurisdiction and the cases against people and the rulings of those cases only apply to that area and everything below it. So if it's a Supreme Court level decision, it applies to everything. If it's a Georgia state level decision, it applies to all of Georgia. If it's an Atlantic court level decision, it only applies to Atlanta.
Yeah, and that's not
However, a court case in Atlanta can still be cited as precedent.
It can be cited as precedent, but the judge would be able to just throw it out and be like, well, that's not here.
Yes, I know. I'm just saying that they can be cited as precedent.
And then from then on, that case will be held up as precedent in Chicago. American legal system! You're welcome! You're already halfway to a college degree, everyone who's watching.
That is not even remotely true. And then here's the best part about the American legal system. If they actually encounter something that hasn't been encountered before, and they can't find anything on it, then whatever judge is currently in the hot seat gets to decide, and that will be used as precedent.
Yeah, it's good shit.
And that means that you could have the guy who's 80, you can have a judge who's 80 years old and doesn't understand anything about the internet.
Ruling on the internet.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to Harry abusing his teacher and threatening him. Blah, blah, blah. I want a wizard's oath from you from now on that you will mind your own business and not play your petty little problems on me. Unlike so many of your other students, I'm perfectly willing to use lethal force to defend myself.
That escalated.
You're 11!
You are 11? Okay, Harry's super expelled now. Even with this magic oath that, for the record, they don't exist.
Yeah, no, don't exist at all.
I was gonna say, the fact that they don't exist, he can totally get around that by just going to the board and saying, yo, this student broke my arm, broke my fingers, and threatened me on my life, and every student...
That's entirely... It's not even if the oath existed, that's entirely within the oath. You will mind your own business. Well, my arm's been broken by the student. He's threatened me.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying he could totally get around that.
Like, holy shit, oh my god.
Like... You'll mind your own business. Okay, well, you made it my business when you broke my arm and my fingers and threatened my life.
Like, look. And like I said, I'm not gonna curse, and I actually have been doing a good job, at least I believe, of not cursing too much. But holy fuck,
Getting
you're
worse
retarded.
as it's been going, but yeah.
Okay, I said shit a lot, but that's really low tier in terms of curses.
I know, I'm just saying, still technically a curse.
I
Point
am.
being,
Just
we can all agree this is
wow.
nonsense.
Struggling, the man was forced to give in as Harry snapped his fingers.
One of his fingers backward, making him scream as the bone cracked in half. Here's something I don't understand.
I, Severus Snape, swear on my... he screamed as making another finger was broken. Swear on my life in magic that I will never provoke or cause problems for Harry James Potter again.
Yeah, great. He can here's the thing. He can always just, because he's gonna have to go visit the medical ward to get the broken fingers and broken arm healed. He's gonna have to tell her what happened. And then even if Snape can't say anything, the nurse can go to the authorities and say, yeah, we've got a psychopath at the school.
Like...
Yeah. Yeah, this...
I just...
Continue.
It's okay, Sneaky. We're
Take
all
a deep
here
breath.
with you.
Collect your thoughts.
He made the fastest, blah 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 blah, so mote it be, blue flash, snare. Harry then snapped Snape's thumb in half. To make sure you remember your place, peasant, he whispered and shoved the man, making him slam into the ground and whimper in pain. Don't expect you to not punish me for legitimate rules broken. Legitimate rules? You
just assaulted a teacher. You just assaulted a teacher and broke his arm.
You went so far beyond breaking the legitimate rules, Harry. He unsealed his library and entered it while sitting on his assigned bed. It was a massive library 20 stories high with vaulted ceilings. Really? A 20 story high?
Pretty sure that goes way beyond anything we've seen magic do. Just putting it out there.
And he's only filled up the first floor. Yeah, blah 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 blah. Dewey Decimal System. The books and scrolls were super cheap. Usually only a gallon or two, with a couple reaching 1,000. The reason for this was Chakra took more training to use, and magic users didn't want to work that hard.
That is blatantly untrue.
The two most expensive books have been about bloodline creation, because nobody wanted that one, because even an 11-year-old was capable of doing that. Oh man, that sounds so hard.
Like, you expect me to believe that, like, the Blacks didn't already have that book?
I'm sorry.
You know very well who I'm talking
about. I know. And a scroll called the Kenjutsu Master's Library of Kenjutsu.
All of the jutsu in the scroll were too high level for him and for him to use, and he didn't expect to master them for at least 2 more years. I'm so glad the author's putting a power cap on the power creep. We almost got lost to the story. Or the story almost got lost to the power creep. Whatever would we have done then?
It's 7:54.
Yeah.
How's about we
We've covered
this
this.
the night?
We're nearly at the end.
That's what I'm saying. We finish this and what do you say we call that a night?
Yeah. Blah blah blah. Summoning jutsu training during the summer. He could already summon small snakes. Don't you need to summon the boss for you to be able to like use them? So we're ignoring that. His goal was to summon Manda, the 10 bajillion-year-old snake now. He didn't have much chakra yet. He couldn't summon anything longer than 20 feet. Oh, I'm so hungry. He put the books back in his place and exited his library and then sealed it into his scrolls. One of the boys asked with a shocked stare, "How did you do that?" Harry remembered this was Theodore not. It's a trade secret, so I can't tell you. It doesn't use magic, so it's kind of funny that even muggles and use the power if they bother to train enough. One of the abilities can set fire to a forest and sink a castle if one is strong enough. Harry replied dismissively. Oh please, Potter, that's gotta be magic. Now tell us how to do it.
Alternate suggestion. No.
I saw a play when I was younger. One of the actors said the following. There is more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreams of in your philosophy. I think that applies here. What? Simply because one believes that magic is the only source of power doesn't make it so. After all, there's political power. There are many other powers than magic, many of which are different but seem the same. What I use is a secret and I can't teach you. I won't tell you what I can do, and it takes so much training to do it, and I've burned myself and broken my bones, and I've almost killed myself. And those are just the basic techniques. The higher ones are worse. One of the books claimed that someone failed a technique once and their soul was ripped out of their body and they were dragged to hell. End of chapter 1. Please note that all plot holes are plot holes for a specific reason and will be explained later. This is a comedy story, so pay attention to that when reviewing. Flamers will be blocked and publicly humiliated. This is a comedy story.
Oh, Sneaky, it's not worth your time.
I didn't laugh once this entire time. I honestly thought this was cringe.
I can't believe he's doing this. When was the last time he did this?
I don't know.
Also reported for breaking fanfiction.net guidelines.
Why tell him that he's been reported? What does that matter?
Because I can.
Because Sneaky's being petty.
Yeah, I'm being petty. Let's see. Chapter in the wrong category. It is a crossover in the non-crossover section. Look, I say you gotta follow the rules all the time. I'm gonna do it.
I get that, but not even. I mean, nothing's even gonna happen.
I know, but it's still the thought that counts at this point. You gotta practice what I preach. And so I'm practicing what I preach, you know? I say you gotta report stories that break the rules. I gotta report stories that break the rules. Also, yes, this is a comedy. You may all cringe in terror.
Yeah, there was no comedy here.
Alright, so are we even gonna bother reading any more of this, or just say screw this and move on?
We don't need to read more of this.
Yeah. This is just painful and just bad, and we spent an entire podcast talking about how bad this was. Normally we hit around 3 to 4 stories, but this story was just so god awful that it took a whole 2 hours to get through a single chapter.
I mean, come on, we spent like 30 minutes talking about... We spent like a half hour talking about just all the problems with what Harry was doing to Snape.
Alright, everyone. I appreciate you all coming around for another edition of Fanfiction Contempt Theater. As always, if you enjoyed our live productions, or if you're watching this as a recording on YouTube, you can catch us live at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesdays to Fridays. If you can't make those times, as always, we record and archive everything on YouTube, which can be found in the panels down below if you're on Twitch, or on YouTube if you're already on YouTube, which you're kind of watching the video right now, which means, you know, you're kind of on our channel, sort of. Just click on our username. It's all there. If you want to see more of this, go to our YouTube page. If you want to catch more live, come to our YouTube page or our Twitch page. It doesn't really matter to me. I prefer Twitch because Twitch is, you know, easier to manage. Anyway, I think I've gone through all the list of things. Thanks for Max and Atin joining us again. We spent too much time on one thing, but what can you do? I managed to not curse too much, which I think is a personal achievement of mine, being that I am about 6 shots in of 80 proof vodka. I find myself very satisfied with myself. Anyway, thank you all for joining us, and see you next time. And remember, there's always more, and it always gets worse. Peace.